What's up, guys? Sorry, Mike, I had to. Well, hello. I'll bet you're wondering how we got here underneath this godforsaken German car. Here it is. These two things should tell you exactly what we're doing today. This old engine, she's coming out. After almost 2 years of letting this car sit on gravel, pavement, dirt, I've been acquiring some parts. There's a 5-cylinder engine right there. Big shout out to Boost Brothers Garage. They've really come through with this project, getting this car running. So I'm gonna get the time lapse going and you guys can see for yourself. Day 2, we're back at it. We got quite a bit off inside the engine bay. So, got that driver's side passenger, driver's side engine mount out. Most of the front accessories out. We're gonna get the power steering pump out. I don't know if you can see down there, probably not. But it's still on there, so I can get that off. I've just got it supported right now because I've unbolted the flywheel and all that's left is the manifold and the passenger side engine mount. So, we're gonna get started. Alright guys, we got the exhaust manifold off. That took literally forever, but we managed to get it off. So, next step, we're gonna get that passenger side engine mount off. Before we do that, we're gonna hook this engine hoist up to the chain just to make sure she don't fall on the crossmember and break anything. And yeah, it's finally happening. So let's get to it. I'm gonna put my gloves back on. Get you guys back on the stand to watch. And we will go for it. Alright guys, major progress. Check this out. The engine is out. So, a few things I'm having issues with. One, the original engine mounts for the 944, seen here, they're a little bit of a bear to get out because the bolt that holds them down on the bottom of the cross member is blocked by the control arms. So, I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but I may have removed the cross crossmember control arm to get at that bolt. But I'll be taking it in for alignment once this is done. Don't worry, it's all gonna be okay. But in the meantime, we've got this puppy, and she is hot and ready to get in to this engine bay. I am so stoked. We are finally able to put this new engine in. It's been quite a wait, just acquiring parts, etc. So we got the belt housing here, the starter. Probably gonna have to put this shim on. Apparently we have interference issues with the engagement sprocket and flywheel. I do have the flywheel on. Just put that on before lunch. And I still have to torque these nuts down, but I mean, it looks pretty good. Got that IE merch, hit them up. This coolant flange, holy crap, that looks good. Everything else is ready to go. But other than that, you know, we're just plugging away. We still have to put the fuel system in. I have to cut the lines that are in there now, and I'll be putting in this right here. This is an Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. So I'll be mounting this somewhere, and then I've got these custom adapters to go onto the hard lines, to go to 6AN PTFE lined hose. That's gonna be sweet. And then for the vacuum catch can system. Oh geez, where did I put that thing? Right here. I don't know, I just keep stuff on the floor, but it's been a hot minute. Got this catch can here. It's got 2 ports and a drain. And I've got a Y, it's somewhere around here, to go from valve cover, this port right here, and then I also have a 10-to-6 adapter to go from this to one part of the Y and the other part of the Y from the valve cover, and that all goes down to the catch can, and that will go to the intake manifold, which is on its way, as well as the thermostat adapter. I have to get a 1.8T thermostat before I put that in. Still gotta get the accessory bracket on, all the other jazz, but you know, we're plugging away. It's happening. But yeah, I'll time lapse for a bit, and then once we get ready to put this in, I'll get us back on, and you guys can watch for yourself what it takes to put a 5-cylinder in a Porsche 944. Day 3 of the 5-cylinder engine swap into the Porsche 944. So, really quick update. This is where we stopped last night. Got to the point where I messed up. I forgot that the crossmember needs to be dropped or lowered. In order to get this engine in, and I got excited and just sort of tried to drop it in as is. So yeah, we're gonna drop the crossmember today. We're going to make sure that's out of the way before we do anything else. Oh shit. And then once the cross member's out of the way and everything else is clear, freaking AC line. Get out of here. We're going to put the engine in, test all the fitment. What are you hung up on? Get the mounts torqued down because I didn't torque the mounts down yet. I have to figure out those torque specs. So we're gonna do that. Son of a bitch. Okay. Well, that sucked, but here we are. Easy, girl. Easy. Okay. Stop there for a second. Turn around a bit. Okay. And yeah, so let's get started, I guess. All right. Now, let's see where we left off. I guess once I drop the cross member, that should fix my steering column issue. Because last night we were having some trouble fitting the driver's side mount around the steering column, so maybe once the cross member's out of the way, we'll be able to fit that in. Always take the time. Just do shit right the first time. Where did I leave my wrench? To recap, we had to undo the caster bolts on the control arms. Not completely undo them, just loosen them. And we loosened the cross member bolts. And we also disconnected the sway bar. So now what we're doing is we're gonna take this wrench and we're gonna shove it in there and try to move the cross member down enough so that we can slip the engine in. We'll see what happens. There we go, now she's moving a little bit more. Pretty much always count on the fact that the vehicle is almost completely symmetrical, apart from like the exhaust and well, depends on the engine, transmission. Yeah, and you could cut a vehicle straight in half. Basically, put money on the fact that it's symmetrical for the most part. I'd say about 80%. 80% symmetrical. You know, depends on the car. Depends on manufacturer. Depends on what kind of vehicle it is. There we go. That she just basically fell. need to get a power system, I need to get more data storage for my camera, but we're getting there. And we're also getting somewhere with this too. Let me show you guys what's going on. So, it's starting to look like a car again, even though we do have a few fitment issues. I mean, overall, I mean, look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay. So down here, down there, you guys probably can't see it, but there is just a little itty bitty spot where what I'm assuming is the pilot bearing and the end of the friggin' shaft, it won't go in. So what I'm gonna try now is I'm gonna take my big friggin' wrench, I'm gonna try to turn this crankshaft so that we can get some turning action inside that pilot bearing while kind of, you know, pushing it, easing it in there. But I mean, the bolts on the back of the torque tube going into the bell housing are threaded in. They're not stripping, which is good, because I thought at first they were stripping and I was a little scared. So we're gonna try to get that in there. Yeah, I dropped the cross member. That was a little sketchy, but take a look now. And yeah, lighting's trash. Let me get from this end. So, I don't know if you can see, but the cross member is separated, and on that side too. She's just kind of hanging there. Which is a little sketch, but it's okay, because it's got no alignment anyways. Yeah. You can kind of see it here too, yeah. The whole thing is just moving around. Focus, girly. So yeah, that's hanging there by a little thread. This thing is just barely not in there, but I mean, it's looking good so far. I think probably a few more minutes at this and we will have a fully mounted engine. The next thing I need to do is I need to get this driver's side mount in there. So I'll do that. And I will get the passenger side mount in just as soon as I can get the bell housing attached to the torque tube. All right, so we messed up a little bit. The oil pan is hitting the cross member, and it's not supposed to look like that. I'll throw a picture in right now. So what's happening is the engine isn't far back enough and it's not up high enough. So what we're gonna do is we are going to pick the engine back up with the hoist. We're gonna unbolt the torque tube from the bell housing, and we're going to undo the engine mounts from the subframe, and we're going to drop the subframe, install the lower sump right there, and the pickup right there. We're gonna put that all in, get it all nice and set, and then we're going to try and set it back down and so see what we can do. I'm guessing it's because I'm hitting the AC line in the back, so what I'm going to do also is I'm going to remove the AC line. Even though it's not what I really wanted to do, is I wanted to keep it there so I could run the stock AC lines, but it's looking like I'm probably going to just have to run custom AC lines, get a crimp tool thing, spend more money, etc. Y'all know the deal. So we're gonna get started on that. Should be a good day. It's gonna be about 66 and sunny. Hopefully the wind calms down and don't have as much heat transfer through air movement. But yeah, moving backwards to go forwards. Good stuff. We'll see what happens. Quick update. We've dropped the cross member, unbolted the torque tube, bolted the engine mounts from the torque tube from the engine, and we've pulled the engine out a little bit. I had to separate the torque tube from the back of the bell housing. Second time around was a lot faster. Basically all I did was undo the caster bolts on the control arms first, and then zip out the cross member bolts after it's supported. Always use jack stands. I have ramps right now. So I guess where we go from now here is we're going to continue to yank the engine out until we can clear this thing, because this thing is in my way, and so are the AC lines. Sorry NA guys, but we're gonna have to come up with some custom solution for air conditioning, because these lines are definitely in the way. You can see I already cut one of the lines that was right here, but that other one coming out of there, I mean, it interferes with that coolant tube, and yeah, it's gonna be a nightmare. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna order an AC line crimp tool and some barrier hose and some fittings that will fit on the electric compressor that I got and the condenser unit inside the car, and I'll probably just end up running custom lines from my condenser and my evaporator and my dryer unit and my compressor. And I mean, honestly, I don't know why people are so scared of air conditioning systems. It's literally just a refrigerator for your car, and you're the food, except you're not getting eaten, which is kind of a weird analogy, but it's all the same thing. Refrigerant in an air conditioning system is the same thing that is used to cool your food in your refrigerator. That's why it's called refrigerant. So that should be a cool project. I'll upload that when I get to it, but first we're gonna get this engine running. In order to do that, we need to move the AC lines. So, race car stuff. All right, update. Torque tube is attached. We did it. It's in there. So let's take a look. I mean, it doesn't look any different, but you can tell it's in there. Obviously, I did that last time. So yeah, what's going on is it's pretty tight because I have it jacked up all the way, but yeah, we still have to put the torque to the cross member back on. But before we do that, what I've done is I've installed the the oil pickup tube, seen right here. We've got that in there. So next, what we're going to do is we are going to put the lower sump onto the engine. I've already got the RTV on. I just did that. So now what I'll do is I will shimmy on underneath the car, probably down there somewhere, and put the lower sump on with all this beautiful included hardware. And then once we get the lower sump, I'm just gonna call it an oil pan, because that's what it is. It's an oil pan, but it's a cooler oil pan because it's got baffles, and you know, it's engineered to fit into a spot that it wasn't originally designed to fit in. So the lower pan's going on. After the lower pan goes on, we're going to try to put the cross member back on. Now I'm a little nervous because after I clearanced the back of the firewall for the engine, it didn't look like there was a big enough difference, but the engine did move more freely, and I don't know, we're gonna give it a shot. If this doesn't work, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but we're gonna figure it out. Update soon. See if I can do this without messing up the RTV.